Now coming back to tools, as I've mentioned earlier, yeah, and just one point, as I mentioned, for the designing and the manufacturing perspective, we use a very large scale integration techniques for designing of the microprocessor and the microcontroller and the manufacturing also, and for the manufacturing also. If we consider for the India part, we do not have a good designing or the manufacturing units present over India. But yes, we are hopeful in the future, upcoming futures, we may look more into the design and manufacturing of this controller or IC chips or the processor for that matter. Now coming back to tools and softwares available. Actually, the first and foremost thing is for the manufacturing purpose, there are multiple tools available. We may require for the designing purpose also. We may require nowadays there is no any manual work or no any hand designs available. For even design purpose also, there are multiple tools available. And when we consider the tools, tool is having their own intelligence to capture any bug or any issue while we design particular microcontroller or the processor. So those tools are present for the designing purpose, as well as even for the manufacturing purpose. What size, like all this devices or the ICs has to be uttermost precision, and for that we have to use tools. So for the even for the manufacturing purpose also, we have a specific tools which make sure that a precision of manufacturing a particular controller or the processor. Now coming back to the once the microcontroller and the processor is ready for the market, we as a user will be using it with the peripheral devices or peripheral system, and we will be writing a code for it and we'll be flashing into it, into its memory. So we'll be having a flashing tools as well. What the flashing tool does, it whatever programming we have done, that programming will get flashed into the memory of the microcontroller, and the controller will do its work accordingly. Here the concept of cross compilation also comes in picture. So maybe you may see that you may write a code into your computer, and at the end of after writing a code, you will compile it, and at the end you will be having one hex file or maybe the ELF file generated from the general purpose computer, and that file you will be flashing it into the controller with the help of this flashing tools. So for an example, the key micro vision we will be having, and it uses for the flashing all those cross compiled files um, into the controllers. After that, application test tools. So once you flash your code into the microcontroller or this for a particular application, we need to see that all those applications are working fine or not, right? So for that purpose, we will be using the application test tools. Application test tools are also include the C compiler. As I mentioned, the code editor and the C compiler will be using it into our PC, and after as per the cross compilation concept, we will be using the output of those compiled files, and we'll be putting into the controller. But for the application testing, there are multiple tools available which in turn use for the manual testing purpose or for the automation testing purpose. So what are the differences between the manual testing and the automation testing is that I'll give you an example. You have written a code, you flashed into the controller, maybe the Atmega system controller you are having, and you have written a code for blinking of the LEDs. So what it does, this test tool does, for the manual testing, we will be just providing the designated input to the controller, and we'll see that all the LEDs are letting in or not, or as per our expectation, is it working it or not. But for the automation testing, what we'll be doing, we'll be providing predefined input, we'll be providing predefined output. for that particular input, what should be the output, and we'll be running those scripts over the controller, so that it will provide us the quick report that my entire program is working fine or not. Here I've given you the example only for the LED purpose, but here we can consider about microcontroller application. Let's take an example of temperature sensors. The temperature sensor, we have a temperature sensor as an input to the controller, and on the output we may be measuring some, like we are doing some activity, or we have connected some actuators to it. So for that purpose, we'll be providing different temperature inputs, or whatever designated input to the temperature sensors pin to the microcontroller, and then we will be reading out the output, whatever expected outputs we will be having, and accordingly the manual as well as the automation testing we will be doing. Now the third type, or the tool softwares will be there, are for the debugging purpose. What happens, sometimes we may write a code, sometimes it may get compiled correctly, and it will generate your designated ELF or designated hex file, and you may have flashed it into the controller, but after flashing it may not work correctly. Why? Because there are multiple constraints. Constraint one is the memory manipulation, or maybe the data is not properly placed, or while flashing of the code into the controller, the data or memory get corrupted. So there are n number of problems we face, and for that, to debug this behavior on the controller, we use a debugging tool. What it does, the debugging tool runs all the instructions one by one, and we see how the data is being manipulated on the registers of the controller, so that when we run one by one instruction, we will know how it will be behaving, or how it will be manipulating the things, and accordingly we can identify where is the problem, at which instruction the problem is, and accordingly we make changes into our code, and again and we can rectify the problem, and again we flash the corrected application to the controller. So for that purpose, the debugging tools are also important. So these are the tools and softwares available. I am not specifically taking any name of the makers, but the idea, what all the makers for the like flashing tools, or maybe the application test tool, or the debugging tool, they are used more or less same concept. I have just provided you the phenomena of how the debugging tools are what debugging tools are there, what idea they use for manipulation, or doing the analysis part. After that, for writing a code, we will be having a multiple tool chains. So, or we can call it as a software tools. So the ID, on the ID, we write a code, and if that ID is intelligent, then it can actually detect the problem in the code, maybe the syntactical problem, or maybe while the manipulation, like anything it can detect. So for that, IDs also plays an important role for intelligence activities, and for writing a code we use the ID. Then the compilers, whatever code you have written, that code needs to be compiled, and the specific files needs to be generated for input to the assembler. The compiler is also required. Compiler software is also required. Along with that, the assembler is also required. And after assembling, the linker and loaders are also required. All this package make sure that you will be having a correct output. It could be the .hex file, or it could be the ELF file, which we can in turn flash into our particular application controller. Now the simulators. Simulator plays an important role at the every phase, I would say, of the development of a microcontroller or processor till the application. Simulators are having a different roles as well. So there are design simulators as well. So the designers will have some concept, maybe he or she is having some concept, and they want to validate that particular concept. So for that, we have a simulators. Simulator does like the the designer will do the designated changes and will see that how it impacts on the output behavior or processor and the controller. So before manufacturing the controller or the processor, we will get to know that how it probably perform. There are physical aspects as well, but it's better to use simulator before developing a controller or the processor, because for developing and the processing, the cost is more. So just to avoid that, it's good to use the simulators. After simulation, for the designing simulations, the simulators are like the application simulators are also there. So to give an example, there are multiple sites available over the internet which does this simulation. So we can select one particular controller, which we may select one particular processor as well. We can do assemble like in the simulated environment, and like over there on the over there on the web page as well. There could be a drag drop options available, and accordingly we can interface multiple things and we could see how it will perform. So for the application perspective also, the simulators are also important, and it is good that before developing something or before implementing something, it first we need to we should validate over the simulators. So the simulator plays a vital role for a developing of controller and developing application for a particular controller or processor. Now coming back to evolution, the controller and the processor evolution is not that, it is not having like long history or something. It was just in 19 it has all it all started in around 1971, where the in 1950s we have invented the transistors, and actually we started using those transistors for our microcontroller purposes. So the first microprocessor, I would say it was Intel 4004 or 4040. In 1970s, Intel has introduced that, where it was having around it was having clock speed of around 740 kilohertz only, and it was having transistor around 2300 only, and instruction like it could take only 60,000 instructions per second. Why now, if we consider this particular point, then we could see that 80286 processor we are having, which is having 8 megahertz clock speed, and it is having around 1,34,000 of transistor, and it is having 4 million of instructions execution per second. So this is the drastic what we can say evolution we have done into the processor market, and it happened because of the miniaturizing of the transistors and making it useful for our application. So it was just only 50 years, but we could achieve earlier we were about to do 60,000 instructions per second, but now we are doing around 4 millions of instruction. And this is only just for like 8-bit microprocessor I'm talking about. The list is good for the 32-bit microprocessors and the 64-bit microprocessor. So all these things happen due to the micro technology, which I've explained you at the start. As miniaturization happened, we could see that the scalability improved, the performance improved, the application aesthetics and everything. It revolutionized the world. We may have seen that 50 years back we may not have electronics, too much electronics present in the automotive, maybe in the healthcare, or even all of the application we see nowadays. But currently everywhere we see electronics, everywhere we see either microprocessor or a microcontroller taking place, just to ease the provide ease to the customers. So as per the evolution, the transistor has increased, and it added complexity as well. The high processing speed also we have achieved, as I mentioned, the earlier processing speed for even the 8-bit microprocessor like around 740 kilohertz, while it is for the 8-bit processor it is around 8 megahertz. So this is a drastic change for the speed of execution happened. Then less power consumption. So earlier we were having like big transistors, and those transistors were like consuming most of the power. And because of miniaturization and the multiple aspects or the optimization, I would say, we could able to reduce down the power consumption for this particular application. So we may have reduced the power consumption, but we have added a complexity, which is a profitable for any of the market or any of the controller or the for the processor. And the reduced size, this reduced size has happened due to the micro technology as well as the optimization part. So to give you an understanding of reduced size, we may see that there could be, like, when somebody designs something, there could be a dead circuitry they may have designed, or maybe they may not use in the future, or there is no any use of that circuitry. It could be possible when we do a manual changes or manual design, and that's why the tools come in picture. It optimizes what implementations we want to do, and accordingly it optimizes, and that reduces the size as well as it improves the performance of the entire circuitry, or maybe the IC, I would say. While for the evaluation of microcontrollers, the microcontrollers came late actually. From like first microprocessor came in picture, but later the microcontrollers came in picture in 1980s. The most loved, like even the all of our curriculum or the engineering curriculum, we learned the 8051 microcontroller. It came in around 1980s, and it revolutionized the controller industry. It is the most popular 8-bit microcontroller we all know, which is having combined instruction, and it is having a tight bound of coding and hardware mapped to this particular controller. We know we use C language. We may have used a C language to do a particular functionality on this particular controller and do the manipulations accordingly. But now in the market, we are also having a 16-bit and 32-bit microcontrollers as well. So every controller or every processor is having their own advantage. We cannot say that like currently we may have a 64-bit microprocessor, and maybe currently may have a 32-bit microcontroller. So we may not say that in every aspect all this 32-bit microcontroller or 64-bit microprocessor is good. It's entirely depend upon the application, or what application we want to build, or what is the agenda of a design, and accordingly we need to do the selection of microcontroller. Some of the applications we can use 8051 directly, or some of the controllers for some of the application we can use ARM latest Cortex controllers. So it depends upon the application, and we have vast variety of microcontroller and processor, and uh, we need to actually decide according to our requirement. Coming back to the case studies, we will be discussing about the 8051 and 8 mega 16. So if you see data sheet of 8051 microprocessors, we may see that it could be around a 40 pin microprocessor, and which is having a dedicated pins. In turn, if we consider at mega 16, we may see that we have pins, but we could use for a multiple purpose. It could be for the microcontroller. We could use same pin as an input. We could use same pin as an output accordingly, and the registers and all the data. So if you see over here, this microprocessor we are having 8085, it externally we need to connect all the peripherals to it, but internally it will have maybe the reset circuitry, maybe the analog inputs. It could be having VCC inputs. It could have like read write inputs, power supply inputs. So all these pins are dedicated in the microprocessor, but while in the microcontroller, it is not the case. We can have a multiple pins. So to consider about the Atmega 16, which is a microcontroller, it is having around 44 pins microcontroller, and the same pin, there is a port for this particular Atmega, and we can use the same pins as the ADC as well. So this is the added advantage of microcontroller, where the which we can decide, we can do push pull activity, and we can configure the inputs accordingly. As well, if we want, we have an interface in the microcontroller. We have an interface of I2C, SPI buses. While in the microprocessors, we'll have an interface of USB, Ethernet. So those are the differences what we can see for the processor and the controller part. Recent trends, as we have seen, the COVID situation took over, and the healthcare and the information and the security actually boomed and revolutionized the world. So information and the security plays an important role nowadays, and for that we need to consider uh, whatever circuitry or whatever controller or the processor we are using. We need to consider the security of that particular hardware. So it considers the hardware security as well and the program security as well. So accordingly, we need to consider, and there are multiple companies who are working on the information and the security, and how we can make it secure for the hardwares or the controllers. And in this part also we use different microcontroller in the processors. In the automotive domain, in a standard card, we could have around 30 of microcontrollers present, and the 30 microcontrollers can work on the critical functionality like the engine controls, or even maybe the wiper, like less critical functionality like the wiper or the windshield. So all these functionalities, for those functionalities also in the automotive domain, we consider the controllers. Healthcare domain, as healthcare domain taken up boom, and we see the drastic change into that. There are multiple devices has been made by using multiple microprocessors where or microcontrollers. So accordingly, as per the need, healthcare sector, according to the need, we do the survey, and accordingly we select a microcontroller or processor according to need of RAM, ROM, timers, input outputs, and the interfaces. Industrial automation, to give an example of bottle filling plant, or there are a number of machineries like the plastic preparation plant or something. So in that part also, for the industrial automation, microprocessors or the microcontrollers can be used. So to give an example, that if we are considering the data has to be like the sensors are connected to the microcontrollers, and those microcontrollers send data to the cloud. It could be the cloud computation, for the cloud computation, or for the IoT part. And that data, that big data has to be analyzed, and that analysis can be done through the computer or the dedicated by the dedicated processors. And the processors and the controller goes hand in hand for this type of industry and the applications. Career path, job opportunities, and the roles, I would say. The first is the design engineer. The design engineer plays an important role for designing of this microprocessor or the microcontroller, or upcoming processors or the controllers can be designed in this particular design engineering role, where have to have the VLSI understanding, and the specific tool understanding has to be there. And there are good opportunities into the design market for the microcontroller and processor. Manufacturing, yes. So industrial manufacturing plants are there, and for those plants, automation is also required. And when automation is required, processor and controllers comes into the picture. So yes, for manufacturing also, there are many businesses available, or who hires for the there are multiple job opportunities present. uh, Even for microcontroller and processor manufacturing itself, there are opportunities, but in India there are bit less opportunities compared to the other countries. Software engineering, Yes, India is known for the software engineering hub, and for the embedded systems or the for the software industries, it is considered as a good career perspective for the microprocessor programming and the controller programming. So yes, a software engineer, there could be the role, or maybe the automotive engineer, or maybe the embedded engineer, or the systems engineer as well. The roles are present into the market. For the testing purpose, for the controller testing, there are multiple different testings are there. Penetration testing, EMI, EMC testing. There are different types of testing present in testing jobs present into the market, and one can avail as per their interest. So application testing also includes in that. So actually, these are the career path and job prospectives and job opportunities currently present into the embedded industries or the controller processor industries.